Chicago is famous not just for the insanely high crime, but if you go to the south side, there's a lot of food deserts. There used to be an Aldi's, there used to be a bunch of Walmarts, and even a Whole Foods, which is pretty crazy to open a Whole Foods in Inglewood, but that's what they did. In fact, the food deserts are so crazy in Chicago. People actually have to go outside their zip code, drive for almost 20 minutes in some cases, just to get fresh produce, which eventually leads to one certain aspect. Everyone is just going to get fast food, and that's pretty bad for a diet. So if you look at this is a video taken during the pandemic, and one of the riots in the Chicago Walmart basically got looted. This is what it looks like. And this will cost this Walmart tens of millions of dollars to clean up and replace. It's not even just about like the produce being stolen. In fact, produce being stolen is pretty cheap. But it's going to be like the self-checkout centers, these places that hold money, the different areas where there's a lot of cameras, the tech, and the wiring. And look at the self-checkouts. They're basically ran dry. They ran through this Walmart like it was just a massive looting spree, which it was. And just look at this. How can a business function? Walmart is a pretty powerful corporation. They're massive, hundreds of thousands of employees. They got cash to burn. Walmarts don't close during a recession, guys. It's the small mom and pop stores. But Walmarts will close if their stores look like this every once in a while. Because for them to fix this up and essentially get it back running again, tens of millions of dollars. And you know how many Twinkies and how many bags of chips they got to sell to make that money back? A lot. And also Walmart's profit margins aren't even that high. Like grocery stores in general have pretty low margins, and it's very hard to make a profit. And when you have situations like these, yeah, you kind of see why. Look at this. With one single and abrupt announcement last year, the nation's largest retailer, Walmart's, apparently have shut down 4 Chicago neighborhoods from themselves. Okay, this Walmart here, the neighborhood one, they pretty much just sell like fresh produce, and 3 of the massive supermarkets and also their pharmacies have now all closed. Walmart closing 4 stores. They're like, we're done. They didn't even really send out a notice. In fact, some of the top executives in Chicago are so mad that they pretty much vowed to never open a Walmart again in many parts of Chicago. And I don't blame them, especially the shoplifting is already pretty bad, and these Walmarts, they're not breaking even anymore. And we live in a capitalist society. If a place isn't making any money, it's wise to just shut it down. And check out this. To combat food deserts in Chicago, the city government is considering opening up a city-owned grocery store. This is kind of very strange, right? Because generally speaking, if a zip code has no grocery stores, opening any sort of grocery store will make insane amounts of money. But there's one aspect about it. That grocery store will probably be shoplifted and definitely robbed. Chicago crime rates are increasing every single year, and the title of Chirac still stands. And I kind of see why nobody wants to open a store here. I think Aldi's tried to open one. They got robbed pretty bad and shoplifted pretty bad, and they basically closed. And look at this. We have a store-owned city-wide grocery store in Kansas. This is owned by the government. It lost $123,000 in the red. And can you imagine a small business or even a big corporation opening a grocery store in South Chicago? They're going to be losing millions a year. And honestly, if Chicago didn't really spend so much crazy money on the migrant crisis, I think they can open a city-owned grocery store. Though it would never be profitable, it will actually benefit many people who are there. And look at this. City is still trying to explore options of a city-owned grocery store. They've been trying to do this for months. I don't get it. What a lot of people are saying, especially on Twitter and the forums, is if you're spending $138 million in 2023 on migrants, I think they could at least spend maybe $3 million on a city-owned grocery store to help out a zip code or two. But they basically said screw it, and they spent all the money on the migrant crisis. And this is why people are feeling like Chicago is losing the citizens. Many citizens are super mad. Many citizens in Chicago are voting for the Republican Party now. You got zip codes in Chicago where it's 97% Democrat. Now they're going for Trump. They're going for Republicans. Many citizens are pretty mad that you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a migrant crisis, but what about the poor areas of Chicago? Imagine they spend that money on the poor area of Chicago. I think many of these areas will improve drastically. because they've almost never gotten any sort of investment, and having such a big investment in those places will actually give them a lot of cash. But now, of course, with Walmart's leaving and, of course, theft and crime sky high, we don't exactly know the situation will happen and unfold in the south side of Chicago. But let's see what happens. Many people on Twitter have been saying that they will welcome a city-owned grocery store. The city knows it's going to lose money on it. But like I said, if the city is willing to invest a little bit on the citizens and make some of the people happy, I think losing a few $100,000 really isn't that bad for a city as wealthy as Chicago. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below, and see you later.